Please also put any questions in the chat. The Frameworx brochure is also in the chat, so please download that, utilise it accordingly. The link is put in there because as it's being updated, then obviously you'll always have the latest copy. If you wish, again, at the end, please raise your hand for a question. And again, the team will be more than happy to help support and answer those questions. If they can't, they'll get back to you. Going to be finished by 12, so we're going to have to get moving. So as an agenda today, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update on the journey so far. I'm going to hand over to David, who's going to talk to you about how the Frameworx works and where we are on procurement and who's been involved with it so far, who's taken us up so far, etc. Mike will then talk about the service providers. We'll hand over to Fiona to talk about the social value poll, so you can help us where we spend the money, basically. And again, hopefully Ben will talk to you about the Manchester conference and what we've got going on up there. Then again, a QA at the end. We've got Andrew Avonius from Anthony Collins, who's legal support. So again, if you've got any legal questions, he should be able to help you with those as well. So the journey so far. I think it's worth saying this was launched back in 2022. So this was the discussion that we had as a committee on the NHMF. We talked about sort of a 2025, like a 3-year strategy of what we feel we can do to improve the NHMF. And part of that is to actually provide more and improving services for the members. This developed, and then one of the ideas was to create a framework, so like a Frameworx that people can utilise, and again the members can utilise with, as you can see, reduced fee of a maximum of 1.5%. Also with a mission to really work, establish engaged supply chains, invest initiatives, including training, benchmarking and social value. And they're really key for us because I think at the moment we feel that there's quite a trade and labour shortage in our sector, and it's a very much focus on the housing sector. Social value is such a key part. Many charities, particularly even at Peabody, are being supported by the likes of us and our supply chain. You know, that we all know that the pressures of inflation are really affecting some of the work that they're doing. And also to help with benchmarking. Benchmarking is a real key part of what the NHMF is about. As you know, potentially using lots of schedule rates, etc., and how we benchmark those and provide data to our members and around. I think it's something that's kicked off quite well. The team we've got set up now moved through to the team. I'm on this board as director, but I'm also the deputy chair of the NHMF committee. We have Mike Turner, who's the voice of the contractors. He's the NHMF Service Provider Forum chair, so he's certainly here to represent what the contractors and the contractor forum is suggesting and what they want as members. We have David, who's looking after the development of the services and for the operations of the go live as any framework goes live. We have Julie, who's supporting with our financial controls. Ben, who's the secretary, and Fiona, who looks after the marketing. So that's the team you can see. We meet once a quarter for board meetings, but obviously we also meet quite regularly between that to again talk about progress and how we move that forward. All of this is supported by the M3 and obviously endorsed and working in conjunction with the NHMF and NHMF Service Providers Forum. And our legal support is provided by Andrew Milros from Anthony Collins. Okay. Key part of this is about committing to social value. The picture there is where we launched the NHMF Frameworx at the NHMF conference back in January at Stratford-upon-Avon. A cheque there for £2,000 was presented to Peabody as the sort of founding charity donation. But again, Fiona will talk to you later about where future funds can potentially be directed to. It was we had a Frameworx lounge at the conference, and those of you there, I think it was quite successful. We had a lot of people come in, utilise it as a meeting point as much as anything, and we certainly had a lot of conversations with people coming in and out of the of that meeting room throughout the 2 days, and really really encouraged by some of the feedback that we got. So again, thank you for all of those that attended. I'm now going to hand over to David, and David's going to talk to you about how the framework works and work your way through next steps. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Neil. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So how Frameworx works, we'll look at who are the members or who can qualify to be a member, how does it work, where are we now at this moment of time, and what's our next procurements in the pipeline. So who are the members? The members of the National Procurement Consortia must be a contracting authority. They are a license holder of one of the 3 schedule rates modules, the response maintenance and void property works, the repairs ordering schedule, or the planned maintenance and property reinvestments, that qualifies contracting authorities to be a member of the National Housing Maintenance Forum and therefore a member of the National Procurement Consortia. There is a facility for other organisations, for example, charities, private landlords, who are licence holders of one of the 3 schedules, but who are not classed under UK law as a contracting authority, to utilise Frameworx as associates. Similarly, licence holders of other schedule rates modules, the other 19 modules that we have, can also join into Frameworx as an associate, and they sign an authorising agreement to indicate that they are happy to join into NPC. Other organisations can become members or associates either by future purchases of one of the 3 modules or by becoming a licence holder of other schedule rates modules, depending upon the actual procurement notice that was issued at the time we procured that particular framework. So what are the benefits for members? Our procurement documents are aligned with the M3 NHF schedule rates documentation. So we've used the various schedules for the frameworks issued so far: planned maintenance, responsive maintenance, net zero carbon or retrofit, fire safety or passive fire safety, as the basis upon which we've obtained the tenders to create the panels of the providers. All surpluses will be invested in social value, sustainability, innovation, research and training. There will be supplier and provider benchmarking, monitoring, and the opportunities to share best practice. It's a not-for-profit organisation, so we are able to work within a highly competitive maximum fee or transaction levy of 1.5%. So how does it work? We have direct awards and frameworks, and we have mini competition frameworks. We're the only procurement consortia that actually has 2 distinct sets of frameworks for each work stream. And that was on the legal advice from Andrew Milros. So in terms of direct award, how clients can award a direct award. First is that any framework provider has to pass the pre-allocation checks. So they are, do they meet the turnover requirements? Have they got experience in that particular type of work? Do they have the requisite insurance levels? Once they pass that process, there are a number of different scenarios where a direct award can be made. Are they the sole provider of similar works or services to the clients in the last 12 months and have provided those works or services to that client's satisfaction? Does only one of the providers have the capability to undertake the works or services within the timescale the client requires? Does only one of the providers have particular expertise in the type of works or services required by the client? Does only one of the providers have particular experience and most extensive use and license to operate asset management or other relevant software used by the clients? Or is there a significant and demonstrable commercial advantage for the clients in having the works or services undertaken by a particular framework provider? If none of those apply, basically we have a list of the providers in descending order of competitiveness or economic advantage. And basically you work down the list until you establish which provider is interested in carrying out that particular call-off contract. In terms of the mini competition, there are certain processes that have to be adopted. First of all, obviously to establish interest from the providers that they are willing to go in for a mini competition and are not overloaded with other works. To ensure that they pass the pre-allocation checks, say the turnover, insurance requirements, etc. Preparation and issue of the invitation submitted mini tender, IMT. The IMT has to include what the client's requirements are for the call-off contract, so the type of work, the nature of the work, the duration of the contract, etc. The IMT has to include the award criteria, price and quality, and the time plan for the evaluation and award. And the evaluation criteria within the IMT should be based upon that of the original framework procurement. So our original framework procurement was based on 40% price, 56% quality, 4% social value. And the prices to be submitted by the providers in a mini competition have to be based on the rates and prices that form the basis of the original framework procurement. Standstill procedure still applies, so they have to receive their standstill letter with feedback to be provided, and there is potential for challenge. So where are we at now? Since basically we've launched the Frameworx at the January 23 conference, there are 18 awards that have been made to date over a wide range of consultancy, maintenance and plant maintenance works. And these are some of the clients who've made those awards. So local authority, housing associations in England, housing associations in Northern Ireland. But we are talking with other clients at the moment on our opportunity pipeline. So we prospectively have 23 awards spread over 14 different clients, again for a wide range from energy consultancy through to general material supply. And those clients include a number of local authorities, 2 county councils, for example, an ALMO, and a number of housing associations, both in England and in Northern Ireland. But we've not stopped our procurements at plant maintenance, net zero carbon, passive fire safety. We are actually out to tender at this moment in time. So this is our future programme. So heating services went out to tender on the 2nd of June, and the tender is due back end of the first week in July. Estate services, the PIN notice and the soft market testing. The PIN notice is being published today. The soft market testing questionnaire will be available for completion from later today. And the anticipation is that we will go out to tender on the 3rd of July for that work. Communal mechanical electrical, PIN notice going out on the 21st of June, tendered in the middle of July. And subcontracting specialist works, PIN notice at the 28th of June, and with tender going out on the 1st of August. And that was with the intention that these 4 procurements, all awards will have been made by the 31st of October 23. So heating services covers domestic heating, appliances installations, so that's gas, LPG, oil, biomass, but it also includes some ad hoc microgeneration, servicing, maintenance, installations, communal commercial heating, appliances and installations, again including some ad hoc air source heat pumps, etc. that are used in communal areas, and then microgeneration appliances and installations, so your ground source heat pump, air source heat pumps, solar thermal, PV, etc. State services covers grounds maintenance, building and window cleaning services, sewage and drainage works, so that's maintenance of sewage plants, the emptying of sewage plants, etc., and estate refurbishment improvements, so changing, modernising, replanning the estate layouts, the paved areas, fencing, bin stores, bike sheds, etc., etc. Communal mechanical and electrical works, it's divided into 6 work streams. So the first is security, access and life support systems. So that covers controlled door entry, automatic doors, barriers and gates, CCTV, communal TV, and warden call and other alarm systems. Active fire detection and prevention systems, including emergency lighting and firefighting equipment, lifts and disability lifting equipment, landlords' electrical installations, sprinkler installations, that includes the installing of the sprinkler systems, and water installations, water hygiene, water tanks, and both internal and external water mains. And specialist and subcontract works basically is looking at the individual trades or groups of trades and aiming at these small SMEs to provide services either directly to clients or indirectly via their DLO organisations, or even in some cases their external contractors who are also DLOs. So a wide range of works to be procured. Okay, so over to Mike.
That's fine.
Thank you, David. Yes, I wanted to introduce and tell you something about the Service Providers Forum, the NHMF Service Providers Forum, of which I'm the chair. So our aims and objectives are to create closer working relationships between clients and contractors, SMEs, etc., service providers. We've got about 60 members, and we were established in 2012. And we also are very keen to promote best practice and innovation and knowledge sharing, and many of our members have taken part over the years in, for example, the NHMF awards. And we work very closely with M3 and the NHMF to improve and develop the M3 National Schedule of Rates and help keep it up to date. And again, another important aspect of our work is networking, not just with the members, but also with other industry bodies that operate within our sector. We meet 3 times a year, and obviously we get together at the national conference each January. And our role with the development of Frameworx has been very important in that we support the establishment of Frameworx, and we've encouraged a solution that dovetails neatly with the Schedule of Rates, and we also strongly support the objective of a not-for-profit strategy that we feel is very, very important, particularly today. And we've influenced the development of the Frameworx practically. We've engaged in soft market testing. We've helped with the design of the lot structure, the geographic regions, and also given an opinion about the quality price ratio. And again, one of the other key factors of our involvement is to ensure that SMEs and specialists are considered fully, and how they also, we can ensure that they can take part in the provision of Frameworx. And our future role is to bring more clients to Frameworx. Because we've, as a group, have been involved in developing it, we feel that it's something that's very much aligned to the schedule. It's a good solution, not just for us, but for our clients, and that commitment will enable us to continue to support and grow the Frameworx solution. And part of that is obviously for our group to become bigger. And I would absolutely encourage any member of Frameworx or anyone thinking about getting more involved with the NHMF to join our group as a service provider. And you can find out more about that by Googling NHMF Service Provider Forum, or click on the link that's available on the screen. And fees range between £400 and £1,000, depending on the size of the organisation. So again, the fees for what you get from it are very, very reasonable. In fact, I think it provides strong value for money. And in a recent survey, our members told us that they gave us a Net Promoter Score of 34%, that's plus 34, which again is good by world standards. So again, those that have joined us are very, very happy with the services that we provide them and the involvement that they can take part in developing things like Frameworx. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Mike. And we're going to go over to Fiona, who's going to talk to you about the social value and the social value poll that we're carrying out.
Hi, everyone. As you've heard kind of throughout the presentation, one of Frameworx's key USPs is its social value and its commitment to investing surplus back into the supply chain. In terms of where we're looking at for our next charities, we really want your input. We've shortlisted some here, organisations that we could potentially partner with. Some of them you'll be familiar with, some of you might not be. So Bounce Back Project, which is focused on training and re-education of ex-offenders. The Construction Youth Trust, which is about educating, training and inspiring young people to get into the construction sector, get into the housing sector. Lighthouse, which is a charity that provides emotional and financial support to people within housing, within construction and their families. National Energy Action, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with, basically working to end fuel poverty. And then the Trussell Trust, again, one I'm sure we're all familiar with, whose networks of food banks provide much needed support for people across the country. So these are the ones we got together as a team, but we would like your input. So over coming weeks, we're going to be doing a LinkedIn poll. We'll introduce you a bit more to some of the charities, and we'd really, really like your feedback about which of these you'd like to see in our future social investment support, or any others. If you've got any others that you feel strongly about, then please put those forwards as well. Again, either on LinkedIn or when you hopefully come and visit us in Manchester at the Frameworx Lounge. Thank you.
Thanks, Fiona. Ben, would you like to talk about Manchester?
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's great to see so many people on the screen today. We've got over 85 people attending right now, and there's been about 100 altogether during the session. So it's fantastic to see so many of you here, but there's nothing quite like meeting face to face. So the Frameworx Lounge that we had at the NHMF conference in Stratford-upon-Avon will be now in Manchester and on the M3 stand. So it's F23. It's nice and central in the middle of the exhibition hall. So come over and see us. Come and see us anytime, but there's particular showcases at twice a day on the Tuesday and the Wednesday, as you can see on the screen, and then one session on the Thursday as well. So come over and see us, and you can see most people who are presenting today on the stand, and come and talk to us about Frameworx and ask those questions that you weren't able to ask on screen today in the Q&A shortly. So yep, thank you very much, and see you there on the stand.
Thanks, Ben. Brilliant. So there's a lot of good stuff going on, particularly Manchester, and I'm really interested in what you have to say about the where we spend the social value funds moving forward, and I'm sure there's some great ideas coming out. So time for questions. Anyone have any questions at all? We've got, you can put it in the chat if you feel so. We can maybe raise your hand if you wouldn't mind. If you are going to ask a question, please state your name and organisation prior to asking the question, and I'll have direct that to the right person who can answer it accordingly. Do we have any questions? There must be one at least. I certainly, there was talk about the MPC facilitating Frameworx for the Republic of Ireland previously. Has anyone got any comments on that? Do you think we should support the Republic of Ireland? It's obviously under different regulations and still under OG. Anyone got any interest in that? No? Okay. Anyone got any other work streams you'd like to see that are not in the list, or is it completely conclusive? Someone's asked, can we have details of the clients we've spoken to? We certainly could do, Rosie H. That's no problem at all. I mean, obviously it's quite an open dialogue. Depending on the client, of course, the client may wish to, you know, until they're signed up to it, they wouldn't really want that to be circulated, but at that point of time, certainly could. Next question.
There's a message on there about disabled adaptations as well. It's probably one for David to answer.
David, if we include disabled adaptations, a particular work stream.
You're muted.
You're on mute, David.
We have already done one award for minor disabled adaptations. That was because basically they're included within our planned maintenance internal works framework. We will look at producing a framework for the more intense disabled adaptations, shallow cubicles, extensions for dialysis, etc. We might include that as part of our specialist subcontract procurements in August. Someone's just mentioned about electrical safety works. That would be included within the landlord's electrical installations as part of the communal mechanical electrical.
Thank you, that's great. Thank you. And question for probably Ben or maybe David. Will be displaying the clients to sign up as members ongoing?
Yes, we will be, subject to the clients, those clients accepting that their name will go on the website.
Thank you. Chris has asked a question. They've recently set up in Irish Republic, so he's happy to support theirs separately. So that's really good. Thank you, Chris. Pelon, would like to see electrical. That's just been answered. Would you be including asbestos surveys and removing? David, question for you.
There is within the compliance consultancy a framework for asbestos compliance that does include for the consultants having to do some ad hoc asbestos management and other types of surveys.
Okay. That's answered your questions. And just a reminder, everyone, actually, there's email addresses, etc. afterwards where we can ask further questions or via our website, the NHMF. Okay. Frameworx. Alexis at QBot, what would conversations around installations work sit in Frameworx? So insulation works, etc. David.
We've already got a framework for that, which is net zero carbon.
Brilliant, thank you. The net zero carbon frameworks help support variable types of obviously
EWI, IWI, roof installations, etc.
Brilliant, thank you. Any other questions?
Someone from Apex HA has said that the Republic of Ireland may be of interest. They have some properties in the Republic of Ireland under Apex Island.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so we'll take that back, David, as an option. I certainly don't want to be procuring something if there's no interest, but if there is, obviously that's the point we're here for the members. Is there scope to increase social value from 4% to 10% in the valuation criteria? Question.
We can increase on future procurements. Obviously, we have built certain requirements in. I think it would be difficult to go back on existing procurements and increase it. I don't know what Andrew thinks about that.
Andrew, do you want to comment? You're on mute. I was looking for his mute button. I certainly know that that's what Peabody do. For example, we have quite a high criteria for social value as a mark, and it's marked by a separate team, people from the communities team.
Sorry, I was just looking for the actual framework agreement. Just give me a moment to pull it up. I just want to check what the mini competition rules are under the framework.
Thank you.
Just bear with me for a moment. Can I come back on that question? And do you want to take another question, and I'll come back when I've checked it?
And the follow-on question is, or allow a range, for example, so you could have a range from and to. Again, is another potential idea or opportunity moving forward. And again, I would probably suggest that would be future frameworks.
Yeah, there's an issue because I know quite a lot of other frameworks do allow a range. The issue is that the criteria for the mini competition have to be based on those used in the framework agreement. So the question is how far that permits you to vary the percentages when you're using the an existing framework. But just bear with me, and I will come back to you on that in terms of whether there is any flex in the framework, in mini competition rules.
Okay. I presume you're keeping an eye on hands up. I can't see any then. Doesn't seem to be any other questions. No. I think we'll circulate any other, the chat will remain open. We'll circulate any other feedback. And again, the recording will be made available on the website in due course. And Ben will probably email you all to send a link to that recording and today's session, as well as the slide deck that we've presented with. But there's a couple of questions just come. For future frameworks would be procured, the FW document allows a range. Okay.
Just going back on social value, the 4% social value we are referred to is actually the offer that is made in respect of providing apprentices, etc. Within the method statement or the quality submission, there were further social value questions for a written narrative response. So we are more than 4% anyway.
Did you want to come in on that, Andrew?
Yeah, so the wording we've put in the framework agreement, and we're talking just about mini competition, obviously, is that the award criteria used in the mini competition should be the same criteria or more precisely formulated criteria as those used in the competition from the framework. So that is the exact wording in the regulations. So it's a matter for you and your legal advisors as to whether you think that permits you to change the weighting of the criteria used from that setting up the framework agreement. Different legal advisors may have different views on that. It depends how risk averse you are. If you're totally risk averse, then you will use identical criteria. If you're prepared to take some degree of risk, and it's no different from the level of risk of any other framework which allows you to flex the rates, because what we've done is we've reproduced the wording from the regulations, then you can change the criteria in your mini competition. So it's a risk assessment for you.
Yeah, I don't know whether you picked up my point, Andrew, was that the 4% was just the social value matrix in terms of
yes, absolutely. So that's the quantitative element rather than the qualitative element.
Yeah, there is then qualitative elements as well.
Yes.
And depending on how they break that particular score down, it could achieve 8 or 10% in overall terms.
Thank you.
So we're talking about 12 or 14% on social value, which is obviously more than the procurement policy note, although the procurement policy note, which applies only to central government, of course, does talk about putting that through the award criteria and talks about it being qualitative rather than quantitative. I think that that's wrong. I don't think that that's necessary. That's not required by the legals. It's purely government guidance, and it purely applies to central government. So we're actually more focused on social value than the government is asking us to be, although in a slightly different emphasis.
Yeah, I think in Northern Ireland it is sort of mandatory to be 10%.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Are the NHMF workbooks due to be updated? I think that's a question for David. Thank you.
In terms of the schedule rates, yes. Version 8 is into its last review processes and should be getting launched sometime towards the end of June, beginning of July.
Okay, so version 8, end of June, July. Is that for all work streams, David?
That covers response, voids, and plan maintenance. Other work streams like heating, communal M&E, estate services are almost there. That'll probably be middle to end of July.
Thank you. Right. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your questions. There's been quite a few in the chat, so I appreciate that. I think we'll give you a little bit of gift of time back, 15 minutes, but thank you for your time. If you'd like to book a slot at the Frameworx Lounge on the M3 stand in Manchester, you can do that. The website will be presented again, it's in the chat, or visit the NHMF Frameworx website again to book a slot to meet some of the team. Again, thank you for your time, and if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate in contacting us either centrally or direct, and look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.